Hello and welcome to Canadians with Disabilities and Their Allies. My name is Brent Frayne. I'm the host for the show, and it's actually also known as PWD Allies on YouTube. Check out your favorite podcast on Spotify or any of your favorite apps where the podcasts are available for PWD Allies. Today, we are broadcasting live at Beacon Hill Park in downtown Victoria, British Columbia. It's a beautiful sunny day. I have bees flying around me. I have kids playing in the playground park right behind me. If you could hear them, probably screaming, ah! Yeah, they're probably the bees. Probably the bees that are scaring them. I got someone playing a saxophone over at a gazebo over across the park. I got people playing badminton just over the way.
Tennis.
Badminton or tennis, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or maybe both. Maybe they're batting off the bees.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just throw some Timbits at them.
Yeah, I got the Timbits right here. Yeah. And the bees are having a heyday trying to get in there, but I have to tell them they have to behave. Yeah. And speaking of,
so why are we here today, Brent? Let's explain that.
Well, we're here today actually just to celebrate the 50th episode. And in order to celebrate the 50th episode of Timbits, they come along with it. It's kind of broken in half here. So it's half because 50 marks the spot. 100 will be the 100th episode. So
That's
then
right.
I get to eat a whole Timbit.
Then you get a whole one.
Yeah, right now I'm gonna get to eat half of it. They're made this morning. They're maybe not as fresh as they should be. But what the hell? I'll just eat the rest before the bees get at them, right? So
that's right.
Yeah. But it's a really special episode because, really, to be honest, everybody watching, this is really special because we've now got to a point of 50 guests, 49 guests. This is our special celebration.
We can't be our own guest, even though you've tried to be your own guest. And I've tried to be a guest too. Is that allowed? I don't know. Well, it's your show, so you can do what you want. Yeah,
it's allowed. And usually when I come on to be my own guest is when I want to give a special update of something that's going on, either in personal life or just things that are going on around that I want to kind of summarize and have a discussion with people when they want to leave their comments right on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's so important to really connect with the disability community and just bringing people on the show. It's all about lived experience, right? It's all about connecting with people, networking, and I think if we all come together collectively in one way or another, everyone always has their different viewpoints, and I get it, and that's totally cool, right? Yeah. But having everybody kind of bringing different ideas together in different ways and making things so much better for the disability community in Canada. And typically, around the world. We've had guests from
Africa.
In Africa, and the UK.
Yeah.
Wow, and then the Netherlands.
Yeah, and since we've rebooted, it's been actually cool because we rebooted the show. It was in January of this year. We rebooted it. We've made it exclusive to YouTube. It's like you said, it's always gone to YouTube, but now we've kind of made it exclusive to YouTube because you used to do your used to run the shows off of Twitter Spaces, but but since we've moved everything into YouTube, it's really I think the show's really come into its own. Like you've been able to refocus the show and really put the focus on the guest, which I think is really good. And like because I know way back when you came to me, and it was it would have been November of 2019, I think, when you first initially approached me about this show, even going on Twitter Spaces before you even launched a show on Twitter Spaces. I got the very distinct impression. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I got the impression that it was gonna, like, you wanted it to be more of a talk show type of format. And I mean, and it never really achieved that level on Twitter Spaces. Mm-hmm. But I think now with these 50 shows, I think we can safely say that it's been a really successful reboot, and we've really put the focus on the guests and really turned it into a talk show, which is exactly what you wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah, totally. And there's like more add-ons that are, and I know I've mentioned regarding the add-ons onto the show, and like to really make it as a talk show. The other enhancements can be coming very, very quickly, and where people are going to be able to engage with myself and also with the guest. We're going to be working at obviously streamlining the process, and that's like a typical process that that kind of goes with like stations when people call, right? Mm-hmm. And I pretty well gave away the secret right there, right? So I might as well just tell people what's happening here is you're going to be able to call into the show, is basically what's going to be happening here, and either be as a time where you can call in as a free giveaway, or you're going to be like caller number, whatever it may be, or you're going to be able to interact where I'll say, okay, I'm going to take the first 2 or 3 calls to call in and talk to the guest that's actually on the show. You'll get to ask me questions, and it'll be the format will be a little bit different. I mean, where traditionally
maybe if we get Michael Bublé on the show, he can give away free concert tickets.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, be caller, whatever it may be. And
there you go.
And I've listened to like radio stations too, right? And how they do their format, and I've got some advice from stations where, like you give people the time to call in, but you don't give them too long, but so that everybody that calls in has equal time that they can actually speak and talk to the guest or talk to myself, or I'll say, I want people to call in now because I want their view on housing. How is it affecting your life on housing right now? That's the topic. And then, I may say, okay, like you've got, if you've got a minute to a minute and a half. I mean, I've called in, to shows where, Brent, you've got 30 seconds, go.
Yeah.
And I'll have a format set in place traditionally where people will call and it'll be saying, okay, who are you? Where are you calling from? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about to the host or the guest? Mm-hmm. It'll be, and I don't, and everybody knows watching my shows, I don't do scripted stuff. I just wing it. Yeah. But that part will be very scripted. Yeah. Because it has to be tailored in the time frame where I need to respect the guest when they're actually on the show. Yeah. Because their time is always number one center, right? The guest is our number one attention, and the callers are too. I mean, to the point where I always want to hear what people have to say.
Well, then I was going to say that the nice thing about having this longer form show. I mean, to be fair, your Twitter Spaces were longer form shows as well.
A lot longer,
but it was hard to. It was hard to edit those down, and you basically were forced to because the audio quality was bad. But, now that we've kind of, for the most part, we're keeping the shows to around an hour or a little bit, maybe more or a little bit less. But it's nice to have kind of that longer form where it's all recorded in good audio, and like you said, you alluded to earlier, like on most news shows, they give you a minute.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Leggett has done so many times expertly. I must add, when they say, okay, Jeff, you've got 30 seconds to make your point, and he does. But it's hard, right? I mean, you want to be able to expound on something for more than 30 seconds, and this is what your podcast does. It gives viewers an opportunity to sit with a topic or a couple of topics for more than 30 seconds, for a full hour, and we could just sit and really discuss something in detail and in depth.
Yeah, totally, Neil. And then that's what it's about, is for people to express their thoughts, their ideas, and bees, when they fly by, right? I mean, the bee wants to express their thoughts too, and it's a really good buzz for the show, right? And I guess the way I look at it is the success that the show has, how it's come along so far. Like, it's really growing to the point where I know I've mentioned in previous shows before, I've said, well, yeah, the announcement, I'm going to be coming out with an added option, and that option is I found a really good deal for it, for the add-on, and I think it gives the people the opportunity to be able to participate, or they still feel that they want to be able to express audio wise versus just typing. You'll still have that option of typing if you don't want to call in, send your comments, either to your website, right? I mean, what do you want to hear? What do you on the show? Do you want to be a guest on the show? You can go to Neil's website, daddybentlegs.com, and go over to the tab section.
It's the media tab. There's a media tab on my website.
Yeah.
www.daddybentlegs.com. If you tab over to the media tab, there's a spot down the page. It says, do you want to be Brent's next guest on the podcast? And even if you don't want to be the next guest, you can still type in a show idea and hit send, and it goes directly to my email. And we'll consider that. If it's a good show idea, we'll consider it. Yeah.
Well, most definitely. And if you don't feel comfortable about doing that, you can, when I have a show on, you can go onto the comments section under the YouTube when it's live. Send in your comments, feedback to the guest that I have on. We'll do our very best. And I just wanted to let everybody know, like, if we don't always get to your questions that you have for the guest, it's not that we're ignoring you. It's not that maybe something that we just haven't got to. I mean, we'll do our very, very best to get to every single question that come out.
I have a question already, Brent.
Yeah, sure.
In live chat, we have Canuck Peso in live chat right now, and he says that he really likes the 1 hour limit, the 1 hour time limit. That he says it allows for a good expansion of the topic, and he says, could Brent please expand on your mission? Do you have a mission statement of what you want to? I mean, you can kind of restate why you started the podcast, I guess.
Sure.
What your overall mission is, or what do you see going forward? Maybe expanding on things.
Sure, I'll expand on, and if I haven't fully answered the question to the viewer, please ask, and then I'll explain more. Okay, so Neil kind of gave a prelude of mentioning when I approached him. That was back in 2019. And I said, well, this is kind of what I want to do. And we didn't really know exactly.
That was late 2019, we should say. It was late November, early December of 2019. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was around there. And, I saw a lot of inequalities across Canada with the disability community that were happening with legislated poverty of government supports for persons with disabilities in Canada. And it was before the pandemic really started, right? I mean, when it was officially launched, I mean, the pandemic was already kind of going there, but I think it was the initial start, right, when they first got going. And I I kept seeing people like, they were suffering in financial distress at the time. Now it's exacerbated even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of inequalities, accessibility issues, transit wise. I mean, homes not being built, or businesses not being equipped for accessibility wise. I saw a lot of issues going on, and I saw a lot of issues regarding the rent portions that people were getting across the country. The rates are subpar below standard, what they should be at, for everybody, and even people that aren't disabled. Really, like, I mean, nobody should really have to sacrifice, not being able to pay their bills or buy food, but just to pay their landlord. I mean, they're paying more than 50% of their household income. There's a problem, right? And then,
Yeah.
CMHC, Neil, I mean, they seem to indicate, oh, nobody should be paying more than 30% of their income. Well, I don't know who's not paying more than 30% of their income. But
Yeah.
here's the other, yeah, it's when I got into that idea of why I was, wanting to launch it. I looked at that because myself and Sonia had gone through this situation where we went to go and wanted to rent somewhere. And it was a situation where the landlord said, and this is not just one, there was a whole handful, and said, well, you can't be paying more than 40 to 50% of your income. I said, well, I pay my rent. Well, you're going to be making like $4,500, $5,000 a month in order for us to rent to you. I said, well, there's no hell and high water the government's going to give a whole wage increase in order to just to pay you as a landlord. So I started kind of looking at all these.
It's a very convenient way of discriminating, right?
It is.
It says we can't rent to you unless you're making this
and
amount because you're not comfortable enough to be renting at
yeah. They wanted people to be comfortable. We don't want people to be suffering. And I was confused on it because I'm thinking, well, 30%, 40%, 50%. Well, didn't they say that nobody should be paying more than 30% of their income? Mm-hmm. And it was the other way around. It was reversed. It was based on median income earners. I have people making $80,000 minimum, 60 to 80. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, what's going on here? So I knew that I needed to expose it. And I brought the media to the attention. I was getting flooded. I was really getting bombarded by media saying, like, what's going on here? So I knew that I had to launch something to bring people together and talk about these issues, not just for myself on my circumstance of what myself or what Sonia or what we had gone through. As we all know, I explained, like, I think it was on Twitter Space, like we had to make a sacrifice and move to away from where I grew up, and I was in Langley. Beautiful place, brand new place. I mean, it was just built. I saw it getting built. I said, wouldn't it be nice to live in there? So we moved, and I said, yeah, like we got the green light. Hey, yeah, you got the place. There was another place I could have had, but I chose a brand new place. Now we keep hitting ourselves saying we should have taken the other place, but there was a lot of questions where the landlord didn't want to deal with third party, meaning government. They did not want to deal with government forms, meaning if I wanted to have the government pay the rent directly to them, nope, didn't want any part of that. I thought, okay, red flag right there, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, ideally, it would have been prime location shopping. So it was a hard call. We said, well, let's just take the new place. The new place we took, it really ended up not being so good, right? Because the management had a quota of, and most people know this, that if you fill up a residential place, you're going to get a certain quota, a bonus, by saying, hey, look what you did. You filled up the place. There's your bonus, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the manager flipped it over twice.
Right.
When we were in, and then to get us out, long story short, there was reasons why they did what they did. We had a choice of taking another unit that was a lot more expensive. But at that time, though, we had the supplement. It was a COVID supplement that the provincial government gave to us. It was going to be made permanent. And why I know that now is because it was actually in a written report that's actually out there. And it was told to basically make it permanent. So, so far it hasn't been. The government gave back a portion of it. But media had contacted Sonia and myself and said, "Okay, can we do an interview with you?" It was like $300 campaign at the time, and I said, "Sure." And they said, "Okay, so what would happen if the government took this away? What would happen in your life, like your lived experience, Brent? What would happen to you if they took it away?" I go, "Then I would have to sacrifice. I'd have to make really awkward decisions. I wouldn't be able to buy healthy food. I wouldn't be able to afford this place." Okay. So then they asked Sonia, "What would happen, Sonia? What would happen if the government took away the $300? What did they tell you?"
We'd have to move.
No, I'm not sure if did you hear her response?
Yeah.
Okay, you did. Okay, good.
Move,
The audio pick up. Right. So that's basically what the media asked. She would have to move.
Where we are right now.
And so it kind of corresponded with what I said, but she, kind of elaborated more on it. And so when they did the story, they were interviewing different people around at the time. And then, of course, I ended up being on the news. It ended up being on there. I'm like, oh, wow, there I am now. And as a time, I became to understand that there was more to do with advocacy of explaining of why situations like what we went through, we had to move to Victoria. It wasn't ideal. I mean, it's nice here as a tourist to come here. Very expensive to live here. We still miss it basically where we moved from, because it was home, right? Mm-hmm. We're adapting here for now. Long term, we want to be back in Langley.
You're by the politicians, which is actually a good thing.
It's a good thing on that part where I can hold them to account. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's a positive part.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to.
But yeah, I mean, Sonia's made a good point, but we shouldn't have to.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's the key part there. We shouldn't have to hold.
That was a mic drop right there. Drop the mic. Drop the mic, Sonia.
Mic drop. Oh, hey, Sonia.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But no, it's so true though. Like, we shouldn't have to, because things that make sense to take away legislative poverty. I mean, poverty shouldn't even exist. And I know I've done episodes where I've talked about this part, and where I've said, having guests on, we talk about this all the time. And it should be something that should be non-existent in Canada. Like, it should not exist.
Yeah.
And there's reasons why.
And we had a great episode for anybody that hasn't watched. It was just the other day. We had Gene Swanson on, anti-poverty advocate or activist. Amazing episode. Actually, I did a short cut down of the episode too,
it's like a 10-minute one,
just to highlight one of the really big things that she said. So if anybody missed that, definitely go back and watch that, because it really kind of shines a light on why there's been 3 decades, 30 years of poor bashing or of legislative poverty in BC. It stems all the way back, like I said, from Mike Harcourt, and I love the fact. Like I told you, I was smiling so hard inside when when Gene Simpson said, Swanson, said that Harcourt was being a jerk, and I was like, I was like a big smile inside. I didn't smile. I noticed I didn't smile on camera, but I was like smiling huge inside. I was like,
me too. When she said that, because it's so true. Like, it's a ripple effect on decades of those kind of comments. I mean, it's so hurtful. I mean, people feel so degraded. They feel that okay, so this is coming right from a politician. Well, then what's the point in living, right?
Yeah, because I haven't actually said this I didn't actually say this on the last show, but I said it to you in private. Yeah. But I believe it's from a psalm in the Bible where it says, out of the mouth the heart speaks. I'm not sure which psalm it is, but it's one of I have to look it up. I should have looked it up, but it's out of the mouth the heart speaks. And so here we have a BC premier saying everybody on welfare is cheats, varmints, and deadbeats.
Wow, I know.
And apparently apparently he apologized about it. I think it was almost like years later. You know, it wasn't immediately like Gene's also was saying. Like he wasn't remorseful at the time he said it, but apparently years later he's like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that. But the point of the matter is,
maybe it was closer to election time when
it doesn't matter. Like when you say shit like that, I mean you can't just take it back because you know
exactly.
out of the mouth the heart speaks. And here is a BC premier that said shit like that, and I mean that's inexcusable, and that is why 30 years later we still have
massive
oppressive, purposeful legislative poverty is because of people like that saying shit like that.
Yeah,
and
I'll
say shit like 12 times over because it's shit, and to have a provincial premier have shit like that coming out of his mouth is inexcusable and is embarrassing. And I mean, even 30 years later, he should be up in front of the camera saying, you know, I apologize for 30 years of stupidity. Like seriously, I mean, it's that bad. It's that bad and that inexcusable. And there's some, you know, and I could go on, but I won't.
But that's why, I mean, so many people are suffering now, like of the trauma. It's the trauma, Neil, that he caused by saying like stupid things like that. And I will say the word stupid because it is stupid. Like why would somebody even say anything like that and then go and they say, oh, why did I say that? Well, because you meant to say it. Exactly. Like there's no reason to think you didn't mean to. It's like saying little kid says, oh, did you eat that candy? No. Yeah, you did. Because you meant to eat it, but now you're saying, no, I didn't mean to, but yeah, you did. You actually meant to. But
you can't take your words back once they're out there, you know. It's like you're gonna like try to get all your words back and say stuff them back in the drawer. They're out. You said it. They're out. Yeah, you know, you can't take it back.
Yeah, no? I mean, and you know, and then when a premier would say, well, I don't know why I even said that. Like I shouldn't have said I caused a lot of harm, you know. And then I'm glad, like when our episode that we had when we had Gene on there, where we fast forward to the Gordon Campbell era. Like wow, like that was I love the reduced down segment that you put on there. It shows you all the highlights of it because it showed the back to the future, the car in there. I love that. That's great. Yeah, because it really goes back in time, but it really it's like a time where if people had already gone through the Mike Harcourt era, then they had to go through it again through the Gordon Campbell era, like double whammy. And that's when I made that comment on the show when I had Gene on. I said, like, the governments need to understand that, you know, they did wrong. They need to now, going forward, they need to now correct and not keep making that same mistake. What's the phrase of when somebody keeps making that same mistake over and over and repeat? They keep doing it back and forth, and then they never seem to understand that you can't keep repeating the same narrative because it's not working.
Yeah, that's right. I forget the exact quote, but something about futility, I think, or it wasn't not futility, but to do the same result. Yeah, to do the same thing over and over and expecting different results is basically
it's not
stupidity.
Gonna work.
Yeah.
And you know, with the current government, like throwing, you know, even the previous government, whatever, like, I mean, they kept throwing little bits here and there, and then they're saying, well, poverty reduction, like. I don't know, like, and this is nothing against the current government, but I still wonder, like, I get questions from people in the community and ask me, well, who came up with the idea of poverty reduction? The Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction.
It just makes you look bad, right?
Yeah, like this is coming from business people.
I mean, let's be honest and call it for what it is, or just not call it anything. But don't say you're reducing poverty when you're doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, because
it just makes you look foolish. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't reduce down poverty by only giving $125 to a certain part of the disability population, and the other part, oh, you don't get it, but you get it. Or you can have subsidized housing, but you can't have it. It's like saying, what did Gene say the other day? Oh yeah, when I was talking about the proposal that I mentioned to the minister about rent geared to income. Remember, I said the RAP. They got the RAP.
Yeah.
You know, and then they got the senior supplement, right? So when I say supplement, anyone watching could be like, "What is Brent talking about?" What I'm talking about is a proposal I mentioned to the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction Minister for British Columbia, the MLA Sheila Malcolm, Honorable Sheila Malcolmson, and no slight on Sheila at all.
I really enjoyed having her on the show. Actually,
yeah, I'd love to have her back on again.
Yeah.
But there was something that I had come up with. And she had said that was brilliant. That was an awesome idea, Brent. It's awesome that I think outside the box on it. And what it was is that I came up with the idea of expanding that same program. It's a rental supplement. So RAP meaning rental assistance program. And that's for single mothers, single fathers who are just really having a hard time because of the cost of living. And it's based on their income. It's based on their household income. Okay, so that's the key word here is the household income, and I'm going to get to that part in just a few moments.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Brent, but it makes me think. They had that for renters, right? But I was a single dad for quite a while, like when my first wife passed away, and I was having a hard time with the rent, of course, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't rent. I have to edit myself. It's not rent. I was paying a mortgage, and instead of helping me with a RAP with a mortgage, the provincial government, in their infinite wisdom, claws back, the survivor's pension, which definitely would help with helping me pay for the mortgage. So I mean, yeah, it's great that they have these rental programs, but I didn't have access to a rental program because I'm paying a mortgage. So my gift for having my wife pass away was here you go, here's a clawback for you, congratulations. That was my RAP. That was my gift RAP. Here's a clawback, congratulations. And so that's, I just wanted to contrast that yes, there is that program for renters, but in my case, I wasn't renting, I'm paying a mortgage, and the provincial government says, congratulations on the death of your wife, you now deserve a clawback. And that is just cruel. There's no other word to say but other than cruel, right?
Oh, it's totally unacceptable. I mean, if people need help, they need help. I mean, and government should be there to look at the situation and help the person where they need that help. I mean, and because seniors, they get that supplement too. They get to stay in their own home. The rental assistance program, the recipients still get to stay in their home. They don't have to move to a BC housing type of atmosphere, like one of the not-for-profits. And when I came up with the idea about expanding it over to persons with disabilities, I thought, okay, it's an idea of trying to make rents cheaper for all the segments across, all for people all the way across. I mean, obviously the rest of the general population also need that option too, right? They really do need that option. However, just recently on the news, there was a lady who's now not disabled. Well, I mean, she might be disabled. She didn't really say, but she was I guess on collecting welfare, but she still could be disabled. She's a senior, and because I mean, as you get older, I mean, you could still have lots of disabilities, but not be diagnosed, or you're slipping between the cracks where all the red tape with the government, all the paperwork. Anyway, long story short is, it really drew me to the article and the news story on it. because she's homeless, and now she couldn't get all the paperwork done to get onto the federal program for seniors, for the seniors pension. And the government says, "Oh well, we gave you all the paperwork. You didn't ask for help." But here's the real the clicker on this one. She doesn't know how to read. She doesn't know how to write. Mm-hmm. She was one of the survivors from the residential schools. She's Indigenous. Yeah. So the government should have reached out to her, worked with her. And she was in an SRO right across the road, and a news hour pointed to the place, and she got evicted because she didn't pay her rent. Well, and she admits that she didn't pay rent for, I think it was 6 months, but she was willing to pay the money, like to the manager, because she didn't know how to fill out the paperwork. Nobody was willing to help her. Right. So it really brought back a lot of feelings of not communicating, the government not communicating and working with the person. Because I had gone through that part, and I told a story when I had Gene Swanson on the other day, what I went through the Gordon Campbell era. Mm-hmm. And I think back where not having any income for a period of time.
It's very stressful.
It was though, Neil. I mean, like my roommate at the time, like they had a fully furnished basement. Like it was like a regular house, you know. And they had door to access to go and do your own laundry certain days. Like I'd be like, "Hi, how's it going? Did you want me to make dinner, or were you going out, or whatever?" Like it was just like I'd be coming and going, and I'd intertwine with her sister, and her sister's husband was up there, and they'd come up for dinner and stuff. They didn't have to. They really didn't have to. They were the owners, and they wanted me to feel welcome. Like hey, come on up.
Is that David over there?
I'm not sure, Sonia.
It looks like David Eby.
David Eby?
Yes.
Ooh, 1 second here.
Okay.
Okay.
Go and find out,
I'm
Sonia.
going over there.
I can't go over there. You can go over there. Yeah, you go ahead, Sonia. Sorry about that, everyone.
That's exciting news. That's a breaking news.
That's a breaking with Brent saying when I said, I told
David
Sonia,
Eby.
you go and David Eby. David Eby is the premier of British Columbia.
Get him on camera.
Wouldn't that be something? Something? If it is, because Sonia's now going to go and venture over there.
It would be great.
So
even if he came on for like a minute. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd be like, yeah, hi everyone. Imagine that, eh? That would be the highlight.
I just wanted to. I kind of touched on it already, but we also had another. I'm not really following the chat, and I apologize. It's hard. It's just me, and it's actually chat's really filling up, and I'm not able to catch it all. But Canuck Peso made an earlier comment about what's your comment? What's your position on clawbacks? What's your feeling on clawbacks? And of course, I have my opinion on clawbacks, and I already just shared them how stupid they are. And one of the things that I wanted to say before turning it over to you was if anybody wants to see a kind of a more cerebral written response that I've had on my position on clawbacks, if you go to my website. Again, www.daddybentlegs.com. I actually have, again, it's on a tab. It's an editorial tab. It says an editorial or opinion editorial. I think is up at the top. And if you go over to the opinion editorial tab, I have a big kind of opinion piece where I talk about clawbacks, my feelings on clawbacks, and how they are a pink unicorn. I explain the whole idea. I mean, we've joked about pink unicorns on the show lots. And I explain the whole idea of what a pink unicorn is and how the government are making these pink unicorns, right?
Yeah.
But having said that, like, what are your feelings on clawbacks?
Yeah, my feelings about clawbacks. They're clawbacks. They don't need to exist. And all of the above, including your major circumstance that you're going through, Neil. I know when you first told me about that, and that really got me into bringing the show together too, really, because when I remember when I still remember the day when you had made the announcement regarding your late wife. It really touched me about that. And then the clawbacks, because it was right after that, and then you mentioned about your book, and I was like, oh wow, and I wanted to buy your book actually. I never really said that. I was thinking,
I've always felt bad. Like I always wanted to create an audiobook, but it's so like I published that book. It was all my own money.
Yeah,
like it's self-published, right? So it was a fair chunk of change to actually publish it, and I just did it. I just did it for fun. It was just like, it's like your podcast. Your podcast has become your passion project, right? And this is just something that I wanted to write at least one book about, sort of a bucket list thing. I want to write one book and have that be a kind of a passion statement, and so that's what I did. And it cost me quite a bit of money, and and to do an audio version of it was even going to be more money, and so I never really did that, but I always wanted to, because I know that there's sight impaired people or blind people that can't necessarily read my book, and I always felt bad about that, because I always did want to do an audio version, and I never got around to it because I could never afford it. So
yeah.
And
that's and that when it came down to about your book, and that's why I took great.
What I should say too. I keep interrupting. Okay. Sorry. But what I should say too.
Let this be away. Just one sec.
is on the I have a media tab on my website, daddybentlegs.com. That book now is available for free. Anybody can click on it and download it. It's just a PDF. Oh man,
it's all good. It's all good.
Oh man, we probably have to wrap up soon anyway.
Oh no, it's all good. It's just one of the Breaking with Brent segments.
Oh man, no. But what I was gonna say is, you don't even have to buy it anymore. You can just click on it. Click on the link on my web page. It's on the media side. The link to the book is there. It's a PDF. I actually have two books there. I did a follow-up book that never actually got published. So my first book was published in hardcover form, and the second book is just a digital download. I never officially published it. It's just kind of an add-on, like almost a redux or tack on to the first book.
Interesting.
But they're both there for free. So if anybody just wants to download them and read them, they're free of charge. And I mean, if you want to send a bit to a PayPal or something, I mean, that'd be appreciated. But I've basically released them to be free now, so anybody can read it.
Yeah. I mean, clawbacks. Getting to the topic regarding clawbacks, and I've always been very strong on advocating of stopping all clawbacks. I remember the clawback about the bus pass, and that's how it really got me going about that.
Equity in the system.
It's equity in the system, and that's really where it started. I mentioned that was the major starting point. The main starting point was when people would be trying to make some money. If you do like a paper route or something like that, you have to declare it. They're going to claw it off you because it's actually wasn't an employer. It was you're self-employed, so they're going to take it off you. Like every time that you try to get ahead, try to make some money, being self-sufficient, they want to claw it off you. No, this is the maximum amount that we're going to give you. This is what you get. Over time, the government had expanded it, saying, "Oh, you're allowed now to make X amount of money per year." Well, great, yeah. But what if you can't work? What if you can't work? What if your disability is that it limits you to a lot of things? And I'm not saying that people shouldn't I'm not saying that they saying that they shouldn't work. They shouldn't be self-sufficient. If they can, great. If you can't, okay, that's why the disability was a pension. That was why it was a pension back. And he says, damn it, like back in 94, 95. Well, 95, no, because no. That's when I
mean, we've had Shane Simpson on a few times, and I mean, he's even said, and even in emails to me, or in private conversations, or I'm not even sure exactly, but he's even said, that because PWD assistance is not a pension, the government can do this, right? They can claw back, but my retort to that is, my survivor's pension is a pension. So like the fact that they can say, well, because PWD assistance is not a pension, we can claw back a pension. like pensions are supposed to be, you're not supposed to be able to claw them back. They're supposed to be a protected income. So to say that we can claw back a pension because PW assistance is not a pension is hogwash. It's gobbledygook, right? Because
it is
at the end of the day, they're clawing back a pension. So like they can say, they can say, well, we're clawing back PWD, and I guess that's true. But at the end of the day, you're clawing back PWD because I have a pension. So at the end of the day, you're actually clawing back my pension, and you're not supposed to be able to do that. A pension is a protected. So it's all gobbledygook, right? It's all just like, they're just making shit up, because at the end of the day, a pension is a protected income. So, and at the end of the day, they are clawing back my pension, even and it's supposed to be protected.
Yeah, and there should never be any clawbacks of any kind across the board. I remember a time, and I mentioned this. I think I might have mentioned this before on one of the shows. I'm pretty sure I did, but I remember a time where, go figure, I had a worker and she was in charge of senior supplements. So my mom was getting her senior's pension. So she wasn't on welfare. She wasn't on disability. She was just getting a senior supplement, and the government handled all the seniors' files, right? Trying to cut costs. They amalgamized into an office. Well, guess who the worker that my mom had was? My worker. Yeah. Go figure.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah. And she told me and told my mom, well, my mom goes, well, what would Brent, can he get more income? So how do we get more? Oh, he needs to apply for all these other supplements that are available. And I said, well, and I was actually talking to somebody earlier about it. I said, well, I remember a time that I went to my doctor and I said, well, this is what the worker said. Wants me to apply for all these things. And he goes, really? So do you have an autoimmune deficiency, Brent? Do you have Crohn's disease? Do you need dialysis? What? No, I don't need all these things. And he goes, right. So you don't want all these things, Brent. You don't want all these other conditions. You may get them, though. This is coming from my GP, everybody. He says, Brent, you don't want all these things. You may get them in life. You may not. Nobody knows what the cards will prevail in life, right? Anybody can get a disability in their life. You can be born with it. You can develop more. You can get, and as we age, unfortunately, we get more ailments. As we get older, we get more different disabilities. Some are more severe than others. There are other cognitive disabilities. They're invisible. They're more prevalent, where they're physical. You feel it. People see it. People don't. They'll look at me and they say, you don't have a visual impairment, do you, Brent? Yeah, I do. And I'm very lucky where I can still be mobilized. I get around. I have extreme difficulty still reading small print. I mean, I can read it. Just takes me a little bit longer to do it. I gotta blow it up, the font here and there. Sometimes I don't. And then it's like, now I get eye fatigue. Part of life, whatever. Whip it, whatever. Go with it. Suck it up, Brent. That's just the way it is. But anyway, getting to the point is that that's just the government's narrative saying, "Well, you want more money? Apply for all these supplements."
Yeah.
Well, I don't qualify for them. Well, too bad, so sad. We're not going to give you more money. Well, I worked for a company at the time, and way years ago, go figure, I injured myself on the job with the same company that I was trying to get more hours with. But they wanted me to be full time. I was warned that you do that, then you're going to be off your government so-called pension. Well, if it was a pension, I wouldn't worry.
Right, exactly.
At the time, they were doing cutbacks. Well, I was warned, if you do that, you could then jeopardize a situation where all of a sudden, if you can't do that, and this was coming from a worker, if you do that, Brent, what happens if you can't do that job anymore? And there would become a point of time in your life where you won't be able to do that job anymore. You're not going to be able to have that. Because at the time, there was not a huge doctor shortage at the time, but I saw a little trend happening where doctors were now taking not as many patients in. They were cutting back how many questions you can ask them per visit. My doctor was doing that too. And I'm like, and then my doctor retired. I bumped into my doctor after he retired, and he says, "Oh, I'm glad that you made that decision at the time and you listened to me." Okay? He says, "Look, the government needs to wake up," he says, "and smell the coffee." I said, "Oh," he said, "Did you want a cup of coffee, Brent?" He said, "It's on me."
Do you have your coffee there, Brent? You can.
Yeah.
There you go.
My coffee's right here.
Yeah.
And we're still looking for the sponsor here.
We are. Anybody wants to sponsor us, we'd love it. Yeah.
We always joke around about Tim Hortons, but if you want to be a sponsor to the show here, just reach out to Neil, reach out to myself. Definitely, and let us know. If
we don't talk a lot about sponsorship, and there's a reason why. I mean, like I've always said, like I would do it regardless. Like I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it. You're doing it because you're passionate about it. We've both invested quite a bit of money. Like I have to say, because there's a lot of like upgrading computer hardware, upgrading like paying for software licenses and stuff like that. Even making sure that my website stays active. That's a cost too, of course. So all of that is money, but it doesn't. Like I would do it regardless.
That's a birthday cake.
Well, there you go. Celebration, right? Yeah. No, but you and I would do this anyway, right? And, and whether anybody gives us a cent, I mean, I would still be doing it. But if anybody wants to come on board and as they say, buy us a cup of coffee, I do have my PayPal there now, and I mean I'm an honorable guy. So if I got like say $50, somebody sent me $50, like you have me on record. Hand on 50 Bibles that I would split it with you, Brent. Because it is a shared show. So if we did ever get sponsorship or anybody sends me a few bucks, I would split it evenly with you, Brandon.
Me too. I would do the same thing, Neil. So if somebody, they reach out to me and they say, I want to sponsor your show, Canadians with Disabilities and their Allies. And then, I say when I do my broadcast for the show, a new slogan that I've added in there, just people are like, what is, you probably noticed that we're now, because Neil and I have talked about this as an added bonus to the show, we also say is also known as PWD Allies podcast because it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just abbreviated version of it down the name. But if you want to, if you do want to be a sponsor, please reach out. If you want to send me, an e-transfer as weatherman.langley@gmail.com. That's my email address. I'll split it with Neil.
And we are we should be wrapping up, but I did want to, before we wrap up, I did want to say, like, we're almost up to 300 subscribers now, which is amazing. I think it's I think it's 286 right now or something like that, which is really great. And you know, it just goes to show that everybody that's subscribed to our or to my channel, I'll say our channel because you know we're kind of co-own it. Everybody that's subscribed is basically sharing in our passion together, right? We're sharing the passion of advocacy, and I really appreciate everybody that you know participates on this channel. That's actively commenting, actively sharing. You know, and if you can keep doing that, like I said, I apologize for not tracking the chat today. I kind of there's a lot of activity in chat today. It's like I can't track it all today, but lots of really good comments I can tell. So that's great, and we just want to see that go forward, like all this passion. You know, we want to see that kind of put in a bottle where everybody takes it forward and just runs with it, right?
Oh, absolutely. And like, I'm so excited about like when I launch the call in one, because there's gonna be a couple special segments when I get that going, and that's gonna be well, it'll be actually later this month, just to let everybody know. Okay. So I'm gonna be getting that going, and it's gonna be a special segment of people calling in. You know, I'm not sure how many minutes per each person call in, but everybody will have an equal opportunity of calling in. You know, if we find that it's overloaded, you know, we'll be broadcasting live, going, okay, if you're watching this live, and you're experiencing that the calls you're not able to get through, keep trying, right? We'll get to each person. You know, and I will say in advance that I apologize if we can't get to everybody. There'll be opportunities for sure, everybody to participate in the show one way or another. And I want to see the show grow, because it's kind of getting back to what that person asked earlier. What is the passion? Where do I want to see the show going? So you know, I would love to see this show going as a radio. It's almost like a radio show now, right? But as a big studio, where now we have a lot of other people that are more involved in the advocacy part of it, in different areas. Is it marketing? Is it sales marketing? You name it. You know, Neil's there. He's the editor, producer. There's going to be lots of opportunity.
Is my living room a good studio, Brent?
There we go. Yeah.
Does this look like a good studio? I don't know.
Perfect. Yeah, it's great. You know, I mean, I see a lot of just a different vision of it going forward in different ways. Right now, it's growing, and like I say, if a person reaches out and they want to be a sponsor, we'll get. If it's I don't know if it's whatever company it is, if it's Roots or if it's Tim Hortons, Nike. Some people say, "Oh God, not Nike! Don't say that." I'm just giving just as an example. I'm throwing it there, so I'm not really doing any favoritism to any specific company or saying we're going to be going with this or that one. I would, as you know, if they sponsor it, we promote their items, right? And hey, we could get letterheads of the Canadians with Disabilities and their Allies on a shirt. Hey, you know, I wear a shirt. Or
brought to you by Roots.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we could it could take off a long way. And that way, with the advocacy too, it will actually enable us to travel across to different areas to meet with people with lived experience. Yeah,
that would be great. Yeah.
Because you know we can use that as our business write-off, like you know, regarding that as a you know stuff. So
I want to have more business lunches with you, Brent. That's what I'm looking forward to. I want to have more business lunches at Tim Hortons. With the ice caps and the and the Timbits, you know.
Yeah, and then stack them all up. Remember? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Jenga.
And if they fall over, yeah,
there you go. But we should wrap up now. Actually, okay. It's getting close to my chaos hour, so we should be wrapping up. But this was a good impromptu segment. Again, lots of good chat happening, and again, I do apologize for not engaging in the chat more, but you know, we love everybody that's subscribed, and we would love it if people, share, like, comment, subscribe more. So we just ask that you share things out if you can, and we're just gonna try to grow the passion, right?
Yeah, and if like, we got 50 episodes this year, season 2
so far, yeah.
So 50 more to go. So we got it's almost like 3.5 months to go of this year. So I know we can get to 100. So if you want to come on, or somebody else that wants to come on, that has a passion, that wants to talk about someone that they know has a disability, or or even like if it's about accessibility, that you think that maybe people who have disabilities that would benefit by certain things, like, come on, talk about it. There's so many different stories. I want to hear lots, and you want to be part of the journey going forward. Definitely reach out to us. I want to be a guest or ideas. We're here, right? Be a guest. You want to be a guest number 51, 52. You want to be guest number 100.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Da, da, da,
What's
da.
behind door number 1, Neil?
Pink unicorn.
Door number 2.
Pink unicorn.
Oh, door number 3.
Another pink unicorn.
Yay!
Pink unicorns for everyone. And again, if you don't know what I'm saying about pink unicorns, go to my website, scroll over to the editorial page, and you'll read all about my thing about the clawbacks and the pink unicorns, and then you'll understand.
Yeah, exactly. And and now we kind of like a prize giveaway of who wants to be guest number 1.
That's right.
Call in,
Yeah.
What do we got? Oh, hey, we got a squirrel over there.
Was that?
We got a squirrel.
So
was
it confirmed? Was it David Eby?
It was not David
totally
Eby. It sure looked like David Eby apparently, but
it was his doppelganger.
Yeah, but apparently the thing that gave it away was the gentleman wasn't tall enough.
Oh, there you go.
Sonia said person wasn't tall enough, so David is very tall.
He's very, very tall. Yeah.
The Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah.
So it definitely wasn't David Eby, because if it was, we would have definitely had
that would have been cool. That would have been cool.
That would have been ultimate.
Come on that podcast.
Hey David, do you want to be guest number 51?
There you go.
Maybe guest number 100. Anywhere in between.
Yeah, and he should know that we're very nice. I mean, Sheila can attest to that. Sheila Malcolmson.
Exactly.
We don't bite.
No. We may growl.
We'll growl a little bit, but we don't bite.
We won't bite. We won't, because I encourage people to come on, and I want people to feel comfortable. Right? I want them to feel comfortable coming on as a guest, and they say, well, what kind of atmosphere? It's a relaxed atmosphere, and I just wing things. I don't read from a script. I just go with because that's how life is. You just go with the flow.
That's what we've done. That's what we've done from day one, and it's worked. It's worked great. So
yeah. And
why change it now?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm so proud. This is our guest. We're guests on our own show here. Number 50, and from Beacon Hill Park in Victoria. People playing the racquetball there, and they got people. Is it tennis too? Tennis? I don't know if they're playing racquetball or tennis.
I would love to be able to play tennis. That's one thing. If I had working legs, I would love to play tennis.
Yeah, it's a pickleball. Apparently, it's pickleball.
Yeah. But
then we got a little picnic going on behind me, and let's see here. Let's see.
Oh, there's a playground.
Yeah.
There you go. That's nice.
And over all that racket going on over there.
Oh, there's a nice little bench.
Yeah, they got it's like a neat little park here, right? And so it's really good. Yeah, it's quite scenic. It's
good.
It's nice. And it's a good place. It's especially when it's hot. So it's actually nice to come here. So
there were tents there a couple of years ago. Have they gotten rid of all the tents?
Yeah, they got rid of them all, and they just pushed them to another area of the community. And then when they go there, then they say, "Oh, you can't be there, so now we need to get rid of you there." So now they're all down on Pandora Street in downtown Victoria.
Okay.
Because there's not enough housing.
Yeah.
People want permanent housing that they can call home, right?
And that's a whole other podcast. But
that'll be another podcast that we can that we'll be talking about. But this is a beautiful park. I mean, and then I say Victoria does have its beauty to it. And it doesn't right where we are now. It feels like you're actually in a wilderness, like you're away from the city. You're so close, right?
Yeah.
So, broadcasting here at Beacon Hill Park in Victoria, the 50th episode of Canadians with Disabilities.
We appreciate you all. We appreciate everyone that's subscribed and tunes in and shares it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. And like I say, reach out to Neil or myself. Neil will, if you reach out to me, automatically Neil is going to reach out to you to get all the details. So just reach out to Neil. Let Neil know. Might as well just reach out to Neil. Let Neil know.
I'm the guy.
You want to come on, and he'll arrange the details.
Yeah, and like I said, there is that tab on the website as well. Just on the media tab. Do you want to be a guest? And you can fill out the form there as well. So.
Who wants to be the next guest?
And all the links, I'll explain again, all the links are in every description of every video that I post. There's a series of, I think, 4 or 5 links. My website being one of them, my Twitter being one of them, website. So it's all there. And actually, one thing I didn't mention, one new link I added, and I think I did mention it a couple of times ago, but I added a calendar, a PWD Allies calendar, so it makes it easy for people that only really know us through YouTube. They don't really connect too much on Twitter. At least this way they can go and check the calendar now. There's a link right on every video. They'll see the calendar link, and at the top of my main YouTube page, on the main About page, there's the link for the calendar there. So if you want to know what guest is coming up, right now there's really no guest showing because it's kind of the transition from summer to fall. So we're still waiting to hear from a couple people. But as soon as we have confirmation of a guest coming, I try to, I'll put those in right away so people will know right away when who's coming, and then you can kind of make a planned appointment for those days.
Exactly. And so the next available dates coming up will be Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday are open.
It's like today's Saturday, September the 9th. So we got Thursday and Friday available next week. So if you want to be on the show, reach out to Neil, and he'll get you going, get you all set up. If we find that slot's not available, you can negotiate with Neil what days going to be available, back and forth. Usually, on average, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are the ideal time. Anytime before 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the show starts at 5 to the hour. Sometimes right on the hour. There's a pre-setup time that is required, and Neil will explain all that.
Guests, it's required of the guests that they sign in early, so because we have to do audio checks and things like that. And that's the usual stuff that goes on with a lot of broadcast stuff, just to make sure everything's all good to go. And then I sign on, and then the guest signs on, and then you'll see how it goes. And we just go with it. And we just wing it.
We just wing it, just like oh, wow, all the bees have gone. So I guess
there you go.
They must have taken.
I guess they ate all your donuts, so they're happy now.
Gone. They're gone.
Squirrel.
Okay,
the
Brent.
Squirrels talked about. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks. Take care.